everyone. It's Leah with the Modern Sage Podcast. It's been a minute. I had to take a little break. I had to move and do some other things and just kind of catch my breath. But I am back and I'm really happy to be here. This is the start of a new season, and this next season is going to be yet a little different, but also some of your familiar styles of interviews with some of the best authors and experts and so forth. But I want to turn our attention collectively in a new direction. So, in order to help us do that, today's podcast, I wanted to do kind of what's out and what's in. All right. I know we're not quite yet at the end of the year, but I'm recording this the week of Thanksgiving in 2024. And as we're moving into the new year, we're also kind of moving into this new energy. I know politically things are changing, energetically things are changing, in our collective consciousness things are changing, in technology things are changing. So I just wanted to kind of do a quick recap of what's out and what's in to help us all get kind of on the same page. These are things that I've been noticing working with clients, noticing in my own life, noticing in the collective. And if we can get behind these, I think we have a really good opportunity to make some positive changes for ourselves. When I talk about what's out, I'm talking about for 2024, but also beyond 2024. These are things that we're kind of moving beyond, that it's time to just kind of lay it down. You know what I mean? Okay, so talking about what is out, number one is being a victim. It's such an old, tired energy. And I know that there's things that happen where we are actually victimized in the moment, in our lives, right here, right now. I'm talking about holding on to the victim mentality as a means to identify ourselves, as a means to get attention, as a means to stay in toxic relationships, and all of that kind of thing. Being a victim is out. All right. So if you have any of that victim energy mentality still going on within you, maybe this is a place for you to focus in the next few weeks, few months, to help resolve and heal some of that energy. Okay. Number two, staying up late and getting up late. It's time to get our circadian rhythms, our body systems, our intuitive, fluid meat bodies into harmony with the cycles of nature. I think we're all being called to a more harmonic way of living. And even if you feel like a night owl, I totally get that. But how can you maybe even shift some of that energy into honoring the cycle of the night and the day a little bit better? It's so important for our hormones. It's so important for our mental health. It's important for our physical bodies. And going to bed early and getting the restorative sleep before midnight, before the early morning hours, and rising with the sun is so natural. It is so life affirming. So don't be hard on yourself here. Like I said, if you're a night owl, if you feel like you thrive in the evening hours, maybe just start taking a look at why that is. You know, what are you doing in your life to support that? And or how can you still honor the natural cycle in general? Maybe that is taking an early evening nap and then waking back up and then waking up for the sun and then maybe taking another nap. I don't know what's possible for you, but all I know is that this natural harmonic cycle and flow, once we get in rhythm with that, it really pulls us in, and it creates a natural blossoming for our bodies and our minds every day. Okay, what else is out 2024 and beyond? Eating seed oils and processed foods. Now, I will be the first to tell you, I still have an addiction here. I love natural organic foods, have for 35 years, and I'm not a stranger to the packaged processed foods. And my current addiction, and I think it's the last one I have with food, is Go Macro bars. And I'm really disappointed in Go Macro bars and some of the other bars because it has sunflower oil in it. Most of them have sunflower oil. Some of them, they say sunflower seed oil, but regardless, it's not the cleanest thing in the world. Now, I am working on making myself a new bar that is delicious and easy and accommodates all of my needs for my diet. And I'm getting there. And so I'm switching out some. So we're not looking for perfection here because, well, I guess, in this way, it would be a wonderful thing to stop eating the seed oils, stop eating the processed foods. And that is something that we can get pretty close to perfection if we attend to our addictions, our food addictions, our emotional eating patterns, and so forth. I am so lucky to live in a place that has natural, healthy foods available. There's many farms. There's a lot of organic farmers around me. There's a lot of proteins, a lot of eggs, a lot of produce, and all kinds of things. And I know some of us aren't. But even if we aren't, that we can make choices that we're not buying into the sick care system that fuels us with things like seed oils and other toxic ingredients. That's out. What else is out? Being silent and wimpish about who you are, what you need, and expressing your authentic self. That's so out. There is no one that benefits from that. And when we're doing that, it's usually because we're acting from our place of emotional woundedness, a pattern that is part of our history of somehow either manipulating, defending, hiding, protecting parts of us. And that is out. So again, this may be a place where if you feel like you do this, that you still need some healing work. And again, we all do. We're not looking for perfection, but we're looking towards moving in a different way for ourselves. Our life is so, so, so freaking precious and short. And when we keep these patterns going, again, it serves no one really besides the wounded part of us. And I know that part of us is important, but we don't want to fuel that part. We don't want to just exist in that state of survival and fear and unworthiness and so forth. That's not what we're here for. We're here to learn to open our hearts, to learn how to exchange and love, to remember who we are and find our way home. That's what we're here for. Okay, so the final thing that I wrote on my list of what is out for 2024 and beyond is this ideology of learning to say no. And I know a lot of people struggle with speaking their truth, as I just mentioned in the last point. But this energy of just saying no, I get it that it helps us to create boundaries for ourselves. But if we have healthy boundaries, then we don't need to have this assertive no because we have this healthy boundary already in place. I think there is an energy behind saying no that can fuel a person's sense of power and that defensive energy or that kind of it is like a standing one's ground and saying one's truth, but it's also the teaching of this energy. It comes across a little brash, a little harsh. So what is in for 2025 and beyond is learning to say yes. Number one, learning to say yes. Even that feeling of saying yes is so invigorating, right? And don't get me wrong here. I know there's plenty of times we have to say, no, no, thank you. That doesn't work for me. And so we should. But let's focus on what can we say yes to, because I believe this is as much an issue as people who are shy about saying no or standing up for their boundaried space and so forth. But learning to say yes. How are we saying yes to life? How are we saying yes? Thank you for your help. Yes, I need you. Yes, please. This energy of yes is about receiving. It's about aligning ourselves with what is for us in front of us instead of that energy of denying, right? So both are true. We're human beings. We're going to have to say yes and no. But I just want you to focus on that place of where are you showing up for and saying yes in your life versus all the ways you can say no, no, no. Okay. So saying yes is so 2025 and beyond. The number two of what is in for 2025 is expressing yourself, speaking your truth, claiming your authentic self, letting people see you, not hiding, and being right there with yourself. That is so in right now. And it's so beautiful to meet a person who's just there. Number 3, taking ownership of your life. This is like the sexiest thing for 2025 and beyond. Taking full ownership for your life. Now, again, trust me, I totally understand that the experiences and the environments and the relationships and everything that has been part of our past has shaped who we are now and is responsible for how we see the world. And we have the option and the opportunity to learn and to grow and to resolve things and to have different perspectives and to shed pain and to move through life in different ways. We are responsible for how we experience our lives today. Things happen in the world. Things happen to us. Other people make choices and decisions about their lives that sometimes affect us. And yes, we feel it and we are affected by it, but even that does not control how we take responsibility for our lives. You know, a lot of people talk about how often I move, and I just call it out. I've moved like 49, 50 times. I don't know. And I just moved again. And one might say, oh, she's flighty. She's not grounded. She can't make a decision or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But the reality is that part of that is informed from my past. When I was a young girl, my parents moved a lot. It was kind of ridiculous how much, and they were separated, they were split. So I had two different moves. But also part of it is because I really love spaces and new experiences and neighborhoods and energy and all of that. That's who I am. And I don't feel my best when I am stagnant in a place for too long. So I do love to be grounded, etc. My point is that no one can inform you of your authentic self and taking responsibility for your life. No one can guide you of which sacrifices to make and which ones, what in your life can't be sacrificed. This is about taking ownership of your pain, your decisions, your choices, your happiness, your relationships, how you spend your time, how you spend your money, how you self-care, all of it. This is so in right now, taking responsibility for yourself without shame, without having to explain it to everyone, just a knowingness of yourself and what you need and taking care of that. Okay, I think we're at number 4. Instead of eating seed oils and packaged foods, how about eating seasonally and simply? Food is such a gift, and we should eat to live. And we should also have enjoyment and relationship with our food, with our land. I've been learning so much about quantum biology and light codes, and so much about our bodies and our minds and our energy and how it works and works optimally. And the only thing that makes sense to me, and again, my Go macro bars don't fit into this category, but when we're eating seasonally and simply, we're eating in harmony with the light that is feeding the soil and the plants and the animals in the same latitude where we are. And that light and that energy and all of the information that's in that is important. And it helps our bodies to break down the food. It helps us to work more in harmony with the seasons that we're in, meaning the acceptance of it, the lack of resistance of it, the sun, the darkness. It's just simple and it's profound. And when we're eating simply, it doesn't mean your food doesn't have to have flavor, but it means that one, we're not eating packaged food. We're not eating a bunch of junk that's unnecessary in our food. But what happens is our taste buds change, our digestive system changes. And there is this kind of purity of enjoyment in the foods that we're eating. So this is a suggestion of what is so in 2025 and beyond. Number 5, getting to bed early and rising with the sun, as opposed to staying up late and making our cortisol levels spike and feel that second wind where we want to get really gritty and creative and so forth. I know that feeling and it's fun. I've had a lot of fun in that energy. And when you're younger, you can do this more easily. But the preciousness, the flow, the ease of going to bed early and letting yourself rise with the rise of the sun, again, being part of that light information, that conversation that's happening in nature and letting the red light from the sun, the appropriate amount of light that our eyeballs need and our brains need and our bodies need, it boosts your mental health. It boosts your entire hormone system. It's just a really organic, natural way to live. And so maybe think about that for 2025. And then lastly, but not less importantly, is letting your creativity flow. Now, you're going to be hearing more about this on this podcast. I love every iteration of all the work I've done for the past 30 something years in the healing art, but I'm an artist, and that's the primary way that I identify. And I believe that right now, with the energy that is going on in the world, that there's two pieces to this creativity. One is I believe that people are waking up in a certain way and feeling called to express themselves, to add back into the world an energy of beauty and thought and expression, and that just organic flow of what we want to contribute. One, to kind of offset the technology and the AI and all the mechanics that are part of our world now. When we are in that creative energy and when we're contributing and producing and inputting into the world color and energy and love and ingenuity and connecting into that greater energy that provides our creativity, we are actually fueling the world and helping to keep the balance appropriate, the balance up. So that's one reason. But in a more personal way, I think that there is a real call within people right now of a stirring, if you will, of creativity. And that can look very different for everyone. You may be a painter or, something more traditional like a musician or woodworker or something, but your creativity may be something that is like organizing, helping people organize in a creative way. Your creativity may be in architecture. So your creativity, it can come out in so many ways, but here's what I know: it wants to come out. And I think that through the times that we've lived in the past 5 years, in particular, 10 years, and the energy that we're moving into collectively, there's a resurgence of creativity. I was thinking the other night, now I'm not a history buff in any way, but the Renaissance period and the arts, the music, the displays of grandiosity and color and textures and all of these things. This is the energy that what's always so alive, but it's like it's having a rebirth now. And I hope that you feel it for yourself in whatever way that you are creative. But if we're used to stifling that creativity, it might feel a little uncomfortable inside if we have resistance to that. I want us to think about in the coming months, in the coming years, how we can contribute and how we can be a vessel that just channels and frees ourselves enough to put out what is in us. It doesn't have to be these genius creations. It doesn't have to even be shared with the world. But the energy of creating is the most natural and powerful energy that any of us have. And we know in women, the birthing experience, it's phenomenal. But creativity, everyone is tapped into it, even if you don't feel like you are. And it is magic. It is magic come to life. It's making something out of nothing. And when we're doing that and using that energy to move through us, we are creating life. We are, again, kind of adding to the positive, to the enrichment, to the vibration of where we're going. And I think what we all want, which is a frequency that is much different than where we've been in the past. So creativity is a big piece of what is in for 2025 and beyond. All right. So that's the end of my list. We'll have them in the show notes as well. But I just want you to, as we're going through the end of the year, And we're actually also in Mercury retrograde right now. It's a beautiful time to think back. It's a great time to reflect on the past year, the past years, and with the Mercury retrograde, also to kind of just review. And while you're doing that, think about where you might need support or assistance in moving out some of this energy or tending to what needs healing, and how you can shift your energy towards what is in and what is available for each of us right now. You'll be hearing more from me soon. We will have guests on. And like I said, the tone and energy of this podcast will be changing as well. In fact, when I was thinking about this podcast, I try to really just listen to spirit and to God and my guides and so forth. And I was having the notion of this creativity piece, and also for myself personally, but with this podcast as well. And I went to bed a few nights ago, and I wasn't really going, I was thinking like, how's this going to work together? Um, the infusion of more creativity and inspiration into the podcast. And I woke up in the middle of the night, which isn't totally rare, but this night I woke up and I thought of the word sage, which we know already has a few meanings. But I have to say this, I don't love acronyms. I think they're totally cliche and overused. But wouldn't you know, I thought of an acronym for the word sage. And even if I don't use it, I'm going to share it here because it kind of tied together the whole energy about what I was thinking about the podcast. And sage being spiritual artist gets enlightened or something like that. And then modern sage, the modern spiritual artist gets enlightened. So I don't know. I'm playing with it. And it may be like premature to share that. But anyway, I really feel strongly about each of these things. And I see it come up. I see each of these come up time and time and time again with my clients and in my work and on my live streams and so forth. And so I just want to share them with you today. Thank you for joining. Now, just as a reminder, I'm still teaching on Insight Timer at least once a month, if not twice a month, on Wednesdays. So follow me there. Follow me on social media at Leah the Modern Sage on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I'll be posting more shortly. And if I can be of any service to you, any support, please reach out. By email is best. I do still see some private clients through the weeks, and we'll be offering some group things coming in the spring. But I'm really looking forward to having a little bit more slow time, more creative time, more time working on all of these things that I shared with you for myself, and just being really, really present with the closure of cycles and the beginning of new ones. And I hope you are too. Take good care of yourself. Lots of love. And I'll talk to you real soon.